On this special edition of Newsline, we bring you information about what Boise State and its students have to offer.
Welcome to your Boise State Newsline. I'm Josh Margin.
And I'm Doug Mason.
Boise State student Eric Garsvo, current history major at Boise State University, takes us through the history of the Boise train depot.
My name is Eric Garsvo, and I am a history student at Boise State. I am also the main tour guide at the Boise train depot. I created the tour about 2 years ago for the Boise Parks and Rec. Every first Sunday of the month, I host 2 historic tours of the Boise depot, and they are free to the public. The tour consists of the history of the depot, takes you from the outside into the inside of the grand hall, the waiting room, and there are 2 collections on display. Fred Hallberg and his family have loaned his collection to us, so you will see switch lanterns, semaphore signals, china set from the Challenger passenger train, and much more. Also, the Barklow Brothers newsstand is a highlight on the tour, and the back platform and the steam locomotive Big Mike outside. And the tour wraps up with an elevator ride up the 96-foot tall bell tower to see all the 4 original bells that were made in 1926. The history of the depot starts back in 1924, and even before that, the railroad first came to Idaho in 1883. The Oregon Short Line was building west from Granger, Wyoming to Huntington, Oregon. And in 1883, the survey crews got southeast of Boise or so in a place called Orchard, Idaho. And the survey crew looked around. They go 2 ways. They come to Boise, the capital city, or they'll bypass Boise and follow the more easier grade along Indian Creek through the towns of Kuna, Nampa, and Caldwell to their destination in Huntington, Oregon. They chose the latter route and bypassed Boise. So for 3 years, people of Boise had to take a stagecoach to Kuna to board their train. Finally, in 1887, the Oregon Short Line built a side track from Nampa to Boise, and they ended the track just past the Vista Bridge. And that's where the first depot was, in 1887 there. And that was the way it was from 1887 until 1894, until the tracks were put into actual downtown, and a nice depot was built on the corner of 10th and Front Street. From 1895 until 1924, that's the way the trains came in, from Nampa into Boise and then back to Nampa. So it was a dead-end track. The city of Boise eventually got fed up with being the backwater of the railroad and wanted a transcontinental rail link into Boise. So the Chamber of Commerce signed contracts with Union Pacific to extend the line from downtown all the way out to Orchard, Idaho, to the main line, to bring in passenger trains via Boise, instead of having to transfer in Nampa to come to Boise. In 1924, the tracks were extended out to Orchard, and by 1925, the tracks were complete. On April 16, 1925, the doors opened at the brand new Boise Depot, which is situated out on the South Boise Bench. Thousands of Boise residents turned out dressed in their best. Department stores, the whole town shut down for the event. The back platform was packed. There was not a spot to be had. They even had a flyover, which at that time consisted of a biplane flying over from the Boise Airport, which is currently Boise State. And the first train came in with the president of Union Pacific, Carl C. Gray. And the train pulled in, and the president got off and made speeches. The mayor was here, the governor was here, the president. They all they made speeches. A wooden key was given to the president of Union Pacific. They then escorted the president from the stage around the depot and treated him to a stagecoach ride into downtown Boise, where he was part of the Grand Marshal and part of the huge parade that was held in downtown. Bands played all night long in Julia Davis Park, and it was a big to-do. Every ad in the newspaper the next day had something to do with the railroad coming to town. The April 17th, 1925 paper is a 48-page paper, and that paper is all about the grand opening, the building of the depot, the building of the railroad, and all the future and exciting things that will be coming via the train to Boise. At that time, there was no major substantial structure out on this bench here. At that time, the bench consisted of sagebrush, a couple farms, and a very early irrigation system. The people of Boise were quite upset that they knew that the new depot was out on the South Boise bench instead of in downtown, because now the city would have to walk all the way out to the bench line here and then climb up the very steep bench. So the New York architects that designed the Boise Depot, Carrier, Hastings, Shreve, and Lando, they also designed the Capitol Boulevard and the easement to get people from downtown to the Boise Depot. And that's also why the Boise Depot is built where it is. It's in line with the Capitol, and a grand thoroughfare was to be built from downtown, from the Capitol, all the way to the depot, and you could loop from the Capitol to the depot in one long road. Between the years 1930, 40, 50, and early 1960, the Boise Depot had 6 passenger trains a day through here, 3 from each direction. We had the City of Portland, the Portland Rose, and the Idahoan were the main passenger trains that came through here. And these trains were very long passenger trains. They would be as long as the brick platform, so quite a long distance. These were trains that were like a rolling city, hence the name City of Portland and City of Los Angeles and other such names of those passenger trains. And on these trains you could do everything from sleep, eat your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, get a shave, and listen to the radio even. In the late 60s, passenger service was declining here. The Barclow Brothers newsstand itself actually closed in November of 1960 due to lack of revenue service to the depot. And the final Union Pacific passenger train departed here in 1972. Union Pacific shut down all passenger service, and in 1974, the building went on the National Register of Historic Places. So since 1997, the Boise Depot has been strictly a office space, a meeting hall, and an event center currently owned by the Boise City Parks and Rec.
Thank you, Eric. It's great to see Boise State students taking such an interest in informing the community about the rich history of Boise.
I spoke with some students about the Fine Arts Building here at Boise State University. Let's take a look. This year marks a new era for Boise State Universities and students and professors here at the school. As you can see behind me, over my shoulder, is a fine arts building that is being constructed right here on campus, on Capitol Boulevard. This project not only means great things for the students and professors that are currently here at Boise State, but it means great things for the potential students and professors that are planning on coming to this university. Not only will it mean great things for the fine arts majors, but it's also going to be a regional landmark for everyone across the country. This project is going to be worth $42 million, and it's supposed to be done in August of 2019. Now I'm here, and I'm going to talk to the students walking by to get a little bit of an idea about how excited they are about this new project.
Looking down from the Boise Depot, that's one of the iconic views of Boise. Changing that landscape and that horizon is going to make the city even more beautiful and attract more people here.
My sister is in high school right now. She wants to be an art major. Now that we have this new awesome art building, I think it might be a big draw for people out of state.
I'm super stoked about the new Fine Arts building. I think it'll be really nice for the art majors on campus to have an actually nice space to work in. And while it won't personally affect me, I am excited to cover a story about it.
Excuse me, are you excited about the new Fine Arts Building? Here at Boise State University. Reporting from Newsline, I'm Doug Mason. All right, now we're going to send it over to David Cosile with some traffic updates on the roads here in Boise.
Thanks, Doug. And hello, Boise State, for those of you who are new. And those of you who aren't, here are some of the need-to-know streets around campus. Capitol Boulevard is a wide street that goes from the Capitol building, a 1/3 scale replica of the one up in DC, up to the Boise train depot, the one we just talked about in the video, yes. Running by some of Boise's best attractions, there's a bell in the Capitol building and the depot. Vista Avenue is the first major street a visitor is likely to encounter, and it takes you from the airport to the well-deserved vista of Capitol Boulevard. I like to imagine this street as the greeter of Boise, Idaho. State Street runs from Highway 44 all the way to Broadway, cutting through nearly the entirety of the city. It bridges Eagle to Boise like the bridge that connects both sides of Capitol Boulevard. Broadway Avenue wraps around Boise State University on the opposite side of the school from Capitol Boulevard. Probably isn't as cool as the one in New York. If you're looking for food and fun, 8th Street is the party animal of streets in Boise. There seems to be no other street jam-packed with more local restaurants than 8th Street. It also hosts street markets for every season. These streets are very high traffic and very popular, so be sure to watch out for all of them. They could have traffic. Back to you guys.
Thanks, David. And that's it for this edition of Newsline. I'm Josh Margin.
And I'm Doug Mason. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.